Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome to our first ever 24 Karat cast. We are going to be talking about the Avengers Endgame and doing a full spoilers review discussion with the 24 Karat Club and amazing people. So, first of all, to the left of me, well, actually, we'll start top left, going right down. Please introduce yourselves briefly, guys, and if you stream, feel free to shout out your stream and stuff. So starting with Nerdy.
I'm NerdySpaceMan. I'm just here for fun. I'm a huge Marvel fan.
I'm Mason, just here for fun as well to talk about Avengers.
I'm Tom. I stream over on twitch.tv/SoundShower. You might have heard of me before, maybe.
I'm Fangskii. I don't stream. I'm just here for fun.
What's up, Sarah?
I'm Sarah, and I'm nervous.
I feel like I've made this way too formal. This needs to be so much more chilled. It really does.
This is me before every class, though. Hi, I'm Sarah, or Lady Tuesday. I also stream. I just got home like an hour ago from the movie now.
Sarah's fresh out of the movie, so if we got anything wrong, Sarah's our go-to source for making sure that we actually refer to the film correctly. Anywho, so
yeah,
we are here. We're ready to finally talk. I'm sorry about all the issues. But let's start off first of all with our first question, so to speak. Did this film live up to the hype that was set out? Was it a good ending for the whole of the last 10 years of the MCU universe? I keep on saying that, Marvel Cinematic Universe that they've set up. Anyone just hop in without talking over each other? Is that a yes?
I say no so badly.
I cried one time. Okay,
Okay.
one time. And it just spilled over like cute tears. Infinity War had me snot bubble.
Really?
I did not cry as much.
That's
Yeah.
the complete opposite for me.
Yeah. I don't feel good, Mr. Stark. That got
That
me.
didn't.
Yeah.
Cry. I kind of I didn't cry in Infinity War because I knew they were coming back. They killed all the people with movies.
True. At the same time, I didn't realize that I didn't realize what was going to happen in Infinity War did happen, and I think the thing that Marvel did wrong was that they were they already showed that they were going to release another Spider-Man film, and that's the stupid thing that they did, I think. Because you wouldn't feel sad because they would have all, they're all going to come back,
I was partially hoping for a universe split. Sound, I think you and I talked about that. I'm maybe it's another universe and that's the other reality, but no.
Well, that could still be a thing.
It could.
Yeah,
could.
like a multiverse kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely talk about that more later because I think the film had a couple of problems or they didn't fully explain a lot of that parallel universe stuff towards the end, and I'll bring up examples of that. But so you don't think it lived up to the hype, Sarah? Or who didn't think it lived up to the hype?
I mean, I got spoiled for can I just say it?
Yeah, of course. This is a spoiler discussion.
Tony Stark dying.
Yeah.
I was doing my homework. I'm scrolling through Twitter, and they're oh, and this, and that. I'm Thor is the Big Lebowski. Fake. That fake. None of that's gonna happen. But Tony Stark dying. I mean, everything else was real that I read. So now I know. But knowing that was gonna happen, it took away that from me.
Yeah, that.
So I'm a little bummed. I'm a little bummed in
I
myself.
didn't cry at Iron Man dying.
I got choked up.
I cried during the funeral, but I'm a little too fresh with those, so that's for another time.
I don't know. I didn't feel like it lived up to the hype. I actually preferred Infinity War.
Really?
As a whole movie. Endgame had moments that were better, but as a movie overall, I think I preferred Infinity War, honestly.
We'll see, how Doodle said in chat, she saw so much hype. I think that the hype was so much around Endgame that it almost kind of ruined it for me when I actually saw the film. It almost felt like a repeat to me almost. It was weird.
Yeah, it wasn't what I was expecting. I don't know if it was the same for you guys. It wasn't the
Was-
film I was expecting.
Was anybody else conflicted with the fact that the first 2/3 was a comedy movie and then all of a sudden it's an action film? I loved
Yeah.
it. The comedy was great, but then I was like whoosh, right into the fight, and I got very confused.
I feel
Although
like if
that
they-
fight was fucking awesome.
Mm.
I mean,
feel like
really
It's
awesome,
fun.
really good.
It's,
It was
it's cool.
great. One in the jar.
Yeah, I feel like if they made like the like first Thanos fight like a little bit more like epic, it could have balanced like that comedy to like action like between the movie instead of it just being like action at the end to like comedy at the beginning.
Yeah, true.
Because I felt like that first fight when they like initially find him was like cut way short.
He doesn't have a reason to fight them.
Well,
though.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
they
That
did
was
that on
brutal.
Doesn't
purpose.
have a reason to fight.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
Yeah, plus he was nearly dead. Like he couldn't have fought if he
Yeah,
wanted to at that
He did
point.
already like his arm was already lost and stuff, so true.
That was brutal.
Mm.
I
Um,
screamed.
I think what the film did well was like the time travel and the fact that I think the way it wrapped up the whole of the last 10 years was really good. Like it referred back to the first Captain America film with his romance, and it had Iron Man's dad in there. Like the fact that I felt like this film needed time travel almost to like the way they did it so smartly going to all the other films. I loved that so much because it just was like a reward for anyone who had seen all of the MCU films previously. And yeah, and both Iron Man and Captain America I felt had their full arcs in this MCU like past 10 years thing. So both of them going away I felt made sense in a way. Obviously it was sad about Tony, but Captain America
Yeah.
definitely had his time, I felt.
He deserved it.
Yeah,
I'd
for
agree
sure.
with you, except for
Yeah.
there's one point with the time travel where they actually broke everything.
Yeah,
So there's at
I
least
think
one that
that
I was just
time
like,
travel-
dude, you broke everything when you did that. So specifically when Thor and Rocket go to Asgard, they took Mjolnir out of that timeline.
Yes.
Before-
Yeah,
Okay.
I was
Yeah.
thinking-
That's a horrible
I'm so glad I
idea.
wasn't the only
Please
one
do
on
it.
that because I was
Cap
pissed.
took it back with him.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Cap
Cap took it back to the timeline. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think he
Oh,
did.
true. Like
Okay.
Yeah,
He did, because I was wondering when he was sitting on the bench at the end if he had it next to him. But
He did
Yeah.
have it in his
But he had it when he took it.
He had
back
it in
on
his
the
hand.
time travel
hand.
pad.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Good call. I missed that.
Because I
Yeah.
was thinking the exact same thing as well.
I didn't know he was
Yeah.
gonna pick it up. I thought it was gonna be Captain Marvel, and I saw it lift. I was like, "Oh, she's back!" And then it was Captain, and everybody went wild.
I thought it was
crazy.
That was one of the
him.
best moments in the film.
It
Yeah,
was
that-
so.
Oh, it was.
That's America's ass. Excuse
That
That
movie
was-
amazing.
so good. And it was. As soon
It
as he was
was.
on screen, I literally reached out my hand and went like that. Beautiful.
That's a really good
I
point.
can swear.
Yeah, that's
I
cool.
can swear that
I
because that was
didn't-
in the movie.
I didn't even like think about him taking the hammer. Yeah, there's definitely like
Mhm.
something wrong with that. There were multiple parts when that happened, but we'll
No.
talk about like what was wrong with the film in terms of timelines. I think a bit later, if that's
You're like,
okay.
guys,
Okay.
structure.
Yeah, I'm such a like
Bad.
structure person. I'm sorry. So favorite scene in the film from each of us.
Oh, jeez.
It was the
I-
Cap Thanos fight when he's got Mjolnir for me.
Yeah, I think that was a
So
lot of
good.
people's favorite scene, to be honest.
Can there be a favorite comedic scene and a favorite drama scene?
Yeah, so we'll do exactly that because I was going to ask was like funniest moment, saddest moment, that sort of stuff. How about we can yeah, if you say what you
I can't pick one.
Yeah,
I can't
for
pick
sure.
one. Oh, anything with the flying horse.
The
'Cause I'm a
Pegasus.
loser.
Because you love your
Valkyrie.
unicorns. Yeah, Valkyrie.
Okay.
Valkyrie.
Yeah.
I love Valkyrie.
Valkyrie was
Valkyrie
great.
was
In
really good
Asgard
in this
now, and I'm
film.
She
like,
was sweet.
She
oh,
was
she's
awesome.
my favorite character.
Yeah, I wasn't actually expecting her to show up, but the way Thor handed off the village to her was like just like super awesome to me. And I thought it was
Mhm.
like, super cool of him.
For sure.
Is it in Scotland, by the way?
What's that?
That was in
Scott?
Norway.
I don't know.
That was in Norway.
Okay,
I have no idea.
Kind of like Scotland, but
Sure,
yeah,
it's
it
in
makes more
Norway.
sense. That makes more sense.
Maybe
That
they
intro to
shot
go
it
into
in
Asgard was
Scotland.
funny.
Possibly.
Yeah, maybe it was
Oh,
shot
no,
in
so far
Scotland.
as sorry.
No,
As far as like favorite moment, so favorite funny moment for me was when the Hulk dabs Let's be
Oh
honest.
no, no, that's the worst bit.
Missed that.
I was
God, yeah.
dying when I saw that.
Oh
Oh,
my
when he
god.
did that.
Oh,
Oh,
for the
Jesus.
photo.
They
it
know
was
what I'm talking.
Yeah. Oh my god. That was
Horrible.
such a
I
good
forgot
scene.
about that. I actually forgot about.
I
It
forgot
was
about
so
that.
bad. It was so bad.
That was so funny.
That or the Rock dude playing Fortnite. Oh god.
Yeah,
How-
I
how is
thought
that
about
ever-
that
that
as
was
well.
good too.
That's my favorite funny part.
That's an anti-spoiler, surely, because like everyone, you would say that, and people were like, no, I don't believe you.
Yeah.
It's like
The funny part was when
the
Thor picked
Thor
up
cursing out the guys playing against.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Gamer
Him
rage.
shoving Rocket's face in his belly, him
My
drinking,
God, yeah.
him
Oh,
swearing at the kid on
That
Fortnite.
was, oh
I
yeah,
was
that was
like,
so unexpected.
dying.
It was
I was
so
dying.
unexpected. Seriously.
Must be an
I-
Xbox player.
That really is how gamer rage is. Like,
I actually couldn't believe that they kept him big throughout that whole movie. I swear, as soon as
Yeah.
he like
I'm-
called
okay,
up
I actually
Mjolnir
didn't
to
like
him,
that.
like
I
he would have
didn't
like
like
done
that.
like some sort of like crazy magic thing.
Yeah,
He was,
to
like,
get
buff.
if
fit
he
again.
could
Yeah, like
magically
for real.
braid
Yeah.
his beard, if he
Yep.
could magically braid his beard, he could magically
Oh.
get his body back.
Right.
That's true.
He chose an aesthetic. He
true.
chose an aesthetic, and it was Lord of the Rings,
Yeah.
and that's fine.
he had a girdle on. He definitely had a girdle on.
Oh, he was
Oh.
having a blast. I love Chris Hemsworth.
Oh yeah,
He's
he
the
must
hotter
have loved it.
Hemsworth.
I just thought of another cool bit though. Sorry if this takes someone else's, but when Thor dual wields,
Oh yeah, that was really
Yes.
cool.
Oh yeah,
I
it
was
was
like,
Yeah.
That
damn.
was sick, yeah.
Okay.
that was super
The apex. Can we take a moment to talk about Dad Bod Thor? Hell yes. I love the Big Lebowski in this film.
He looked
there's
just like
also-
the Big Lebowski.
There's also the moment between Thor and Cap where they trade weapons, where he's just like, "No, you get
Yeah,
the
yeah,
little
that
one."
was
get the
great. Oh
little
my
one.
god, there were so
Yeah.
many good moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Well, I think like.
after you.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go. Okay. Like I think I have like one of the more like lower end like awesome moments was like actually when like Pepper came in. I thought that was like the sweetest thing she
Yes.
could have done. And when they were like back to back, and Pepper pulls out like the bat.
Yes,
I
that
thought
was
it
so
like,
cool.
The coolest thing.
Yes.
Oh, and
Didn't expect
yeah.
that.
that just
I love
reminded
Goop.
me of Spider-Man, and he's
her.
like insta kill, and then it was like with his
Oh.
back stuff. I was
That
like,
too.
that was so
Mhm.
cool. Oh my
Mhm.
god.
I'm surprised they got Gwyneth Paltrow because she said she was done, and so did Natalie Portman, and they were like, surprise!
Yeah.
Money is money.
Oh, yeah. Money is
Yeah, money's
Yeah.
nice.
I think
Mm.
also where they Spidey hands off the gauntlet to Captain Marvel, and then they have that nice pan out with basically all the female Avengers. That was like a
Yeah.
really
Oh,
cool
yeah.
moment
That
to
was
see
my
them all
favorite
grouped
scene.
up.
That was my favorite.
I'm
Scene.
so
Mhm.
fresh off of this that I feel overwhelmed by details, and you're like, in this moment, and I'm like, yeah! I'm still so
Literally
stressed
reminiscing.
out.
Yeah,
My
I was gonna
Fitbit
bring
says
that
my
up.
heart-
I was gonna bring that up
My
because
heart is like 110.
you actually
like
have your heart rate
dying.
monitor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up because I was like, damn, this is so specific, like specifically all the female superheroes, and I thought this is like possibly a teaser for an all-female Avengers film, which I
A-Force?
think I've heard
A-Force?
about. Yeah,
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
I think that
Yeah,
will be a
A-Force
thing.
is it's a comic book
A-Force.
about all the females in Marvel.
A-Force, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that was really cool, that moment. It was brief, but you could tell they had to throw that in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was so cool.
Yeah,
I'm
it
sorry.
was really, really cool. Okay, anything you didn't like about the film? Anything at all?
The dab.
Stanley's
The
cameo.
best or worst moment.
The Stanley cameo.
Yeah, didn't like it.
Really?
Oh really?
Me neither.
What?
Theater didn't even recognize him.
Yeah, I feel like you couldn't recognize him either. Yeah, it took
I
even
was
my
like,
aunt.
really?
who's
That
been,
was
like,
his
a
cameo.
longtime
I
fan.
didn't even hear what he said. Really.
True.
Yeah, I
It's
feel
a
like
reference to
especially-
Batman, wasn't it?
He was the driver who like just like waved by, right?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
waved
Yeah.
by, and that was
Yeah.
it. And I was like, really? Well, you know,
Or no, he said make love, not war, or something
Oh,
like
yeah,
that.
that's
Yeah, yeah.
Fine, yeah.
Were there two? What,
Uh,
two cameos?
What?
I only saw
'Cause-
one.
Yeah, because there's the one
Yeah,
in
I
the
thought it was the wrong
past,
one.
wasn't there? And that was a reference to the Ant-Man and the Wasp one, because he said like, "Oh, I took too much LSD or something in the 70s."
Oh, I didn't. I have.
I don't know.
oh, that,
Maybe
Wait,
I-
there's two cameos.
Is there two cameos? Because there's definitely one in the
I didn't-
70s when he goes back to see.
Now we have to
go back to get
rewatch.
the Tesseract.
Yeah, I remember that one, but I don't remember there
Yeah,
being
I don't
another one.
remember a second.
I don't remember
I
there
re-
being another one.
I remember the drive-by one, right, with the car.
Yeah.
When they go back to
Yeah.
the TV,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was the
Who has a
only
dog?
Ooh.
I want a dog.
one. So,
Fangskii's dog.
any other points that you didn't like about the film?
I guess like how I said the first 2/3 were all comedic. Some of them felt really natural and some of it felt very forced and set up. They're like, okay, we have to have funny moment with this person, have to have it here, have to have it with this combo. So like sometimes it flowed really naturally and sometimes it's like him looking down at his unconscious body and saying that is America's ass. Like I loved it. That was funny, but it took me out of the movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I think they probably could have afford to take back some of the jokes and just leave it to be serious because it did. This was definitely one of the more serious films that they've had, for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Sure.
Otherwise,
I'm not sure if there's a lot that I didn't like apart from it ending.
yeah, yeah.
I didn't want it to end the same.
I mean,
Well, like a little thing.
No credit scene, by the way. No post-credit scene.
yeah.
Well,
The
they're kind of-
sound.
Oh yeah.
isn't
The
there?
sound. The
There's
clang
some-
clang.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Was that-
Someone in
Yes,
our
I know
room
what it
knew
is.
what that was.
I think I know what it is. So, in the one of like the old Iron Man trailers, clanging and clanging, like building his suit in the cave, and I think that's what that's a reference to.
Yeah,
like the
okay.
beginning
to the
of the
start
MCU.
of it all.
Do you reckon it's a send off, or do you think it's?
Is it a new one?
Talking about something else they're gonna do.
Yeah.
Well,
There's-
see, I figured there
I
was
feel
no
like
video
it's
because
just
it was a send off. Yeah.
I didn't actually
Yeah.
hear the clang because I left because I really needed to use the toilet.
To me,
You
the movie
laugh?
didn't feel like 3 hours. The movie
It
felt like
didn't.
an hour to me.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think.
it was pretty. You left?
No, like I left
I can't
just
believe
at the,
that.
at
Yeah.
the
I can't
credits
believe
because
that.
someone already told me that there was no end credit scene, and I was literally
lucky. You didn't
on the edge
get-
of pissing
be
myself in my
disappointed.
chest, like in the cinema. I had to yeet out of there real quick. Like, no, it wasn't gonna happen.
But the credits were actually good with the 6 Avengers stuff. That was so good.
Do I have follow alerts
Yeah, it
on?
was.
Yeah.
So
think it
was
was a good
anyone
nice
else
send-off.
upset that they managed to bring Gamora back, which I don't like how they brought her back?
And
on top of that,
Gamora that
They
could
didn't
die.
bring Vision back.
But
They
we don't
could-
know if
What?
Gamora's
Vision.
dead or not, do we?
Okay, yeah, that's the thing.
Gamora
Like,
should have stayed.
Yeah.
If Black Widow had to die, Gamora can stay dead. If Black Widow had, oh, I'm so
Yeah.
upset. I'm so upset.
okay, so that
Actually
leads
true.
very well
might
into
cry.
the saddest
I'm very
moments of the film because I thought that Black Widow's death was honestly the saddest death, even sadder than like I was crying at Iron Man's death, Stark's death, but Black Widow, the way she went out was
Oh.
so noble. Like that scene, I thought was the best scene in the whole film.
Yes.
The Soul Stone.
It ties it up, doesn't it?
I've
'Cause,
never seen a
she owed-
sacrifice war.
Yeah,
I think
like
she owed Hawkeye, didn't she?
yeah,
She
and
owed
it
her
was
life to him.
oh my god, that was just so well executed. The fact they were like fighting to like, I was
I
so
literally
surprised.
like was on the physical edge of my seat for that whole thing. When they were like, I think we're thinking about the different person. I'm like, bitch, you're honestly not thinking that you're gonna kill him and you're gonna kill her. And then they were like fighting, and I might be too fresh for this. I might start crying. I might cry. I might cry. I
Yeah.
might cry. I have tissues.
Well, see, I thought they were actually going to let Hawkeye die because at the start he was already training his daughter and calling her Hawkeye because I thought she was going to take over. So I thought that was it. And then when she
Yeah.
comes in and grapples him, it was just so sad. Like
Yeah,
I swore something else was going to happen, like to save her.
yeah,
It's also for me, like when you consider how hopeful like she was at the start, like she was kind of the driving force behind saying, "No, we need to fucking try this," and then she had to be the one to die. I think that was
Oh,
what
yeah,
made it
for sure.
worse.
I'm crying.
don't cry.
Oh, no.
It's okay. Don't. It's
It's
fine.
happening.
Yeah, it's okay.
I didn't cry at the movie, but now I'm crying. Like
Yeah.
her arc was so great. If you think about her, the first time we saw her, and then she basically became the Nick Fury. She
Mm.
was doing it. She was
yeah.
calling the shots, and then I'm gonna.
She makes a mean sandwich.
Yeah, peanut butter sandwich. Wow, that was like, I don't know if that's the appropriate time. But, like written on her gravestone, she made a great sandwich.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
I was going to say I don't really I think the Iron Man one was probably the saddest for me, but I think the one that I reacted most to was Cap on the bench.
Yeah,
Oh, that was
I knew-
sweet.
I think
Like, I knew it was
I
gonna
thought it
happen.
was sweet. Yeah.
I knew it was going to happen, but I still like I was like, oh, I'm having to fight back the tears here
yeah, for real. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it was nice.
think
that it got,
honestly-
like, a good ending.
yeah, for sure.
the part about Tony's death that got to me the most was Spider-Man basically like freaking out, just being like, no, you weren't supposed to die. Like that's what made it sad, was Peter Parker's reaction to him dying.
It was
I kind of
again
expected
like from Infinity
Yeah, 'cause
War.
It was,
Like,
Yeah.
it was
I
almost
loved-
like a reversed role, and like Tony
Yeah.
Stark worked so hard. Like almost everything he did from like building it was like almost all for Spider-Man. So for it to be reversed, like Spider-Man looking over like Iron Man, was just it made it like that more impactful for me. I guess.
Definitely going to be great to see what he thinks about that in Far From Home, how that affects him.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't take. When does that take place though?
After it takes place after Endgame.
After. Okay.
I loved what Pepper said. You can rest now. That's what. That's
Yeah.
when the tears spilled. I was like,
Yeah.
That was a
Yeah.
good way of
Came
doing
out,
it, yeah.
I mean.
And then when he bends over for the kid and he's like, "Love you 3000," and it cuts like, oh,
Oh man.
Uh,
You know, you officially cannot love anyone more than I love you 3000 now.
yeah.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
I,
By the way, I just realised like what I said sounded really bad, but she actually did make.
yeah, she did make a sandwich. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't mean it that way.
No, we know. Just for clarification.
anyone else
Yeah,
who
they
knows-
might be like, "Whoa, this sound shower, dude."
JW alert.
Oh, dear.
Okay, so let's look forward to like what happened at the end of the film. So what do we think now is going to happen to Captain America and Iron Man? I mean, we already basically know what is going to happen with Captain America, at least if the film goes through with what they said. And my camera's gone. But what do we think?
Where's your beautiful face?
Isn't,
He gonna be crusty. It's fine.
is old man Cap a thing
Yes.
in the
I
comics?
mean, he
Yes, it
like
is.
Cap.
Yes, it
passed
is.
on
It is a thing in the
mantle.
comics.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, old man.
I guess I have a
Happy
question
children.
for us.
Hmm.
So, like back when he was friends with like old lady Peggy, she was like, "Oh, I have a husband, I have kids, but I can't. Not gonna." She didn't really share who that was. And then when they asked him, "When you see Cap's wedding ring," he's like, "I'm not gonna tell you about her." What was it? The whole time, did she know? I'm having a hard time putting words to
Oh
it.
my
Oh,
I don't know,
god.
because
You know?
wasn't her memory
That-
affected?
You know what? Yeah,
Was
I didn't
the-
think that.
Yeah.
Easy.
I didn't
So
think
she
about
might
it.
not have remembered who her
Maybe.
husband was, because she like would briefly recognize Cap.
Well, no,
Mhm.
she'd have to say she'd have to say that she didn't know who it was, but she did, because you know timeline
Was it
shit.
him the whole time,
Mhm.
and they
It
just
could've been him
agreed
the
to
whole
keep
time.
the secret?
Yeah, could have been him the whole time.
Possibly, yeah.
I'm
Hmm.
so sweet. I need to call my brother. I need to cry. I'm gonna have to hold it in.
You can cry on stream. It's fine.
I've done that so much.
So what do we think will happen to Iron Man now? Do you think Marvel will create a new Iron Man? Because there are multiple Iron Mans in the comic books.
Goop's not gonna
Yeah.
do it. She came back for this. She's not gonna take that mantle up, so they'd have to find someone else.
I mean,
Hmm.
it could be his daughter if they go forward
Could
enough.
be.
Yeah,
Mm.
I did read something.
Mm.
Apparently, there's a comic. I don't know if this is. Are we getting into comic spoilers now? If that matters or not.
Hmm.
Apparently, one of the comics, he leaves behind an AI, another AI that's like based on him.
Mm.
So
Okay.
he could come back that way, perhaps.
I don't know if I like
Okay.
that.
Well,
Let him
Like
rest.
almost like a
That's what I say. Yeah, that kind of feels like just
Down
bringing
with
him
that.
back.
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
without
That's
actually bringing him back.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It'd be weird if
I mean,
it
he
was.
could make it so he could control the suits.
Yeah, I
just
know.
as a-
Yeah, that would be really weird though,
Mhm.
because then it would just be like an
Yeah.
empty shell,
Hmm.
just controlling it.
Hmm.
I would be all for Pepper taking over.
Yeah,
Even
like
if it was for like a couple movies. Yeah.
that would be
Mhm.
awesome.
I don't think she wants to.
Yeah. I just
Yeah.
don't know if she wants to.
I think
Yeah.
Gwyneth Paltrow wants to do anything else.
Okay, so to go back to Gamora, we were talking about her at the end. I realized my camera's still off, which is it's charging. I didn't leave it plugged in.
It's
Oh, no.
charging?
Yes, it's fine.
Folks.
But what was I gonna say? Yeah, the Gamora. So at the end, they fully glossed over Gamora and Nebula. Like the war ended, but did Tony snap his fingers and get rid of everyone that came through that portal? Does that include Gamora,
Mm.
or
Well, it wouldn't be.
Well, Nebula's alive, right?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Nebula's alive.
Nebula
That's the
would be
2019
alive? But
version, though.
what happened to Gamora?
No, that's the 29.
Could
Well,
because there
you
was
have to
that
cons-
computer bit where it was
yeah, and you have to
searching.
consider that
Yeah,
the
searching.
Soul Stone took a different life because they went back in time.
Yeah,
Exactly.
In that timeline, Gamora never died for it.
yeah, exactly.
technically,
So she, in theory, would have lived
she
on,
at?
but
Where's
where
she at?
was she during the Guardians of the Galaxy scene with Thor and all the others? What happened there?
Maybe-
Maybe
Spawned back
that's
on
where
Volmir.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is picking up, is going to get her. Like
Maybe.
they find her while they're
Trying to
doing.
find out where she is.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Thor and Guardians
No,
of the
I'm
Galaxy
too
Volume
confused
3.
about this one.
Yeah, this is where my brain
Yeah, I
hurts.
think
Yeah, we're gonna
This is
get,
the hurts me.
yeah,
Why
we
can't
it
she
gets a little
complicate
fuzzy
it?
with Nebula too. Yeah.
yeah, because
I'm surprised I liked Nebula as much as I did. Side note, she's
Yeah.
Oh,
great.
she came in
Yeah.
clutch. Yeah.
Mhm.
The blue and orange also was a fabulous look. Like, it was good. I liked it.
I liked how she was looking after Tony at the beginning in the ship. That was really nice. It's a nice
Mhm.
change of character
Oh,
for
yeah.
her.
oh
Mhm.
yeah, that was great. Oh, actually, that reminds me. What did you guys think of Captain Marvel in this film? Because
Not enough.
Not enough.
No.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
basically wasn't
Okay.
there.
She had like 3 scenes
No.
and one was a hologram.
I can kind of understand why they didn't use her because she's so overpowered.
yeah,
Very
Yeah.
disappointed.
Yeah.
Very
Which is what I mean,
disappointed.
and then that brings up the question: why did one hit from a single Infinity Stone take her completely out of the fight at the end? Like she got hit once with one stone and was just gone. Like I don't think we saw her again until everything was done.
I mean, maybe
Actually,
she
it
was
might not
so
have been till the
focused
funeral.
on pulling the glove and all her weight was there that he just got her, but like, it doesn't make
Maybe.
sense. She should have been able to take it.
Just didn't block it, I suppose.
But I mean,
No.
that's also like Thor was
Yeah.
out for a good bit of the fight after he got hit.
Yeah.
Like he was out for a lot of
Yeah.
it after he caught that backhand. I don't remember if
Mhm.
he came back after that. Actually,
Hmm.
I don't know. There's a lot going on in that fight.
There
Yeah.
was a
I need to
lot.
watch that scene
I think
like
I
a
need to
million
watch
more
it again.
times.
I need to watch.
Yeah,
the whole
that
thing
scene where
again.
they all teleport in is honestly
Yeah.
that was
Oh, it was
So
so
the best
good.
scene in the movie.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Can we talk about the scene where I forgot her name, where she actually hands off the stone and she realizes, like, okay, if he's handing off the stone, there obviously has to be a reason for this.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
take
yeah.
it. Like, I thought that was like,
That was a
The
really
ancient
good
thing,
one.
scene.
The
like-
ancient
Yeah,
one.
the Sorcerer
Oh, Apex,
Master,
you're right, by the way.
Sorcerer, or something like that.
As the Grandmaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So another quick thing, by the way, why was everyone able to just hold Infinity Stones in the palm of their damn hand?
Yeah.
I was thinking
Yeah.
that
That
too.
one pissed me off. I'm like, guys, they had a whole thing in Guardians of the Galaxy where it took five, 6 people to hold one, and it still nearly killed them all. And then now everyone's just like, oh yeah, here, put it in my hand. Like,
Cool. Thanks.
True.
Eat.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Quantum realm particles made it so they could do it.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
guess.
Also, a lot
maybe
of
they-
convenient plots, you know?
Earned their
Yeah.
worth if it's a moral thing. I don't know. That doesn't make
Mm.
sense to me.
Maybe.
I
don't know,
didn't
I
even
think it's
think
just
about
a-
that.
Pure power thing.
Mm.
I think
Well,
it's just
like-
a suspension of disbelief thing. I think it's just like they had to do it. It's
That's
breaking
fair.
the law a
Yeah.
little bit. But
Oh, this reminds me. I love heist movies. As soon as they said it's a time heist, I'm like, yes.
To be fair, that
Like,
part of the
Ant-Man
film was
was-
amazing. I
Ant-Man.
love that. Yeah, Ant-Man was awesome.
Mhm.
I love that part of the film. Sorry, just for those who are just watching on YouTube, the Apex said that there was a quick scene where Peter Quill was searching, and it shows searching for Gamora. And yeah, I
Mhm.
totally get that. But why wasn't so? I'm guessing she's not there because she hasn't fallen in love with Peter Quill yet, and that's why he's searching for her. Because this was past Gamora jumping to the future before she met Quill,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
I'm just worried she
Yeah,
got
she's-
dusted.
Technically, time hop.
I think
Yeah, no-
I
about
honestly
to
think
say-
past one got dusted.
I think the past one got dusted. I'm not sure what happened when they went back in time and changed who died for the Soul Stone. So I'm thinking Gamora's like just kind of showed up somewhere because like we saw Doctor Strange had to teleport everybody in from all these different places.
that's true.
It didn't look like, and it looked varied enough to where it wasn't like everyone came back to the exact spot that they vanished from almost,
Yeah.
which quantum physics, so who knows.
Mhm.
So it might just be that she's Gamora's stranded on a planet somewhere.
Maybe she is
That's true.
stranded on that planet where the Soul
Yeah.
Stone, where you get the Soul
And
Stone.
maybe Strange forgot to teleport her because she didn't get dusted like everyone else.
That's
Mm.
true.
He doesn't know.
She was already killed.
Yeah,
right?
Strange might not have known where to find her.
Yeah,
I miss Black Widow.
that's a
This
very
moves
good
on
point.
to my big question
Yeah.
as well, which is when he was taking the stones back, how did he give the Soul Stone back? And it's Cap and Red Skull meeting up again, so I wanted to see that.
Ooh,
Interaction.
good
Yeah.
point.
But yeah, how
Find
did he
out
just give the
next
Soul Stone back?
Just
I would have just chucked it. Shove Red
Just
Skull
handed
off
it
the
off.
cliff. I don't know, something.
Also, on that topic, the moment where Cap says "Hail Hydra," I kind of
right?
lost it for a
You know
minute.
The whole theater
In the elevator.
died. Oh my god, we were the loudest
so
for
good.
that. That was so funny.
That was
I just
great.
love that scene
It
in
was
general.
great.
In the elevator, it was so good. So
Ooh,
it's exactly the same as the Winter.
Honestly,
Yeah,
that
it's-
really
Yeah.
confused me because I was like, why are we now in the Winter Soldier's time period? I was so confused, but it was
they mirrored so many scenes with the Avengers complex getting blown up again. It was like right back to Iron Man.
it was so good. I
was-
loved that
It
part
was
of the
so
film
good.
so much.
That was not
Now,
on purpose.
Cap
That was on
fighting
purpose.
his
That was
past
great.
self.
Oh
and
my
then he
god,
said,
yes.
"Where's Bucky? Bucky's alive," and he was like, "What?"
That
That's
was
what
yeah.
he called it.
Yeah,
That-
yeah.
that's
Also, where he used his own catchphrase on himself. That was a
Yeah.
great moment.
Yeah, he was like, I
I could do
know.
this all day. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know. Shut up already. Yeah. Oh.
That was so
Well, it
good.
got like super emotional when his like pocket watch fell out though. But then I
Yeah.
like how they like picked it back up with the comedy. It was great. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
America's ass.
so I had another question. Did you guys see Iron Man or Widowmaker's death coming? Did you at any point, what, maybe during the film or before the film?
You called her Widowmaker.
I freaking called her Widowmaker. I keep on doing this. Black Widow. Oh my
I'm just gonna
god,
call you
dude.
out. I'm just gonna call you out.
Actually.
Get him out of here.
Please.
I called Iron Man dying. I knew that one was coming.
Yeah.
I expected Cap to also die, like not
Yeah.
Same.
just get old and still be there and just not be
Yeah.
Cap anymore. I expected him to physically die in that last
Yeah, me
fight.
too.
Yeah, that last fight.
Because like I
Mhm.
expected, because like him and Tony had that like they finally figured shit out. They're
Settled
like, all right,
it.
we're back to buddies again. And I thought they would end up basically both fighting Thanos and both dying to get that victory. Is what I
Mhm.
expected.
That would have
I
been
did
nice.
not expect Black Widow's death at all.
I
I
did
didn't
not.
at all.
And now
So
there's gonna be
hard.
no Black Widow movie. There's gonna be
Yeah,
no
there is.
Black
There's
Widow.
a Black Widow movie
They could do an
Wait, what?
origin story.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
gonna
they
come
can
one
still do
next year.
origin
next
story.
year. There's the Black Widow solo film coming out.
Really?
That
So
face
yeah,
of
It's
realization.
probably a prequel.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I'm
And my
happy
friends were like,
now.
haha, we're not seeing that.
Yeah, that was like when they announced the Spider-Man movie, and everyone was like, "Oh, well, that spoils Endgame with him coming back." I'm like, "Well, where in the timeline is it taking place? It could take place
Mhm.
before Infinity
Yeah,
War."
That's a
There
fair
There was
point.
no guarantee.
I
he
didn't think
coming
that was a
back.
There
likelihood,
was no
honestly.
guarantee. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a
I
very
didn't think it
fair
was
point.
likely. No, but
I thought it was going to be between Cap and Iron Man, but I thought one would like die saving the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be Cap saving Iron Man, but
Mhm.
Well, I knew it was like confirmed already online that it was like Cap's last movie, so I kind of figured like he would die or like something would
Yeah, me
happen.
too.
But Iron Man, like I didn't hear anything online or anything, so his death was actually
He
like
kept
completely
it.
like
He never said he was gonna stop or
maybe
not
yeah.
stop.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Fairs.
Chadwick Boseman, every interview was like, I don't know, man. I'm
Yeah,
dead.
I'm dead.
Hilarious.
That's nice, but I'm dead.
His reaction was
Hilarious.
great.
That's another point then. Did you expect any other heroes to have potentially died in this film? At any point?
I expected Nebula to die, and technically she did die.
Yeah. A version. Yeah, true. A version of her did die. That's a
That
fair
was
point.
brutal. Without hesitation, just boom, shot herself.
And then I was like, oh, well, there goes Future.
Yeah, I
Nebula.
was really
Nothing happened.
confused by
Yeah.
that.
And I was like,
I thought
Yeah, I was
I thought
confused.
Future one would have died, but this was a different like parallel version of her.
Aren't aren't
Yeah,
there
it was weird
different
with
Yeah.
types of time travel? Like the Harry Potter version, the Back to the Future version. I don't know.
They all have different rules. I think like even Harry Potter, you're
Yeah.
not even allowed to see yourself. So like
Yeah.
them
Harry
Yeah.
Potter was the best one. Harry Potter, best time travel movie, pass it
um
the Future best time travel.
oh my gosh, okay. You guys
I
can
haven't
squabble
seen
another
Back to the
time.
Future.
I haven't seen Back to the
Amazing.
Future either, to be fair.
I
but
love
still.
Back to the Future
Haven't
so
seen
much.
Oh my goodness.
No, I will watch it another time. We need to watch it like a movie night. But
You didn't get like half the jokes then from Ant-Man. If you
I
haven't seen
mean,
Back to the Future.
I mean, they explained it in the film, so I could tell that there were
It-
some
on.
jokes.
I just
with-
made a funny but also a good point. I thought that Mohawk Eye would get zapped as he was always kind of a sideline character.
That's
One, Mohawk
Yeah,
Eye.
I thought.
like
he was,
I
but
love that.
after they succeeded and brought everyone back, killing him right after his family came back would have been
Yeah.
and killing
They
him
could have done
after
it.
he
I wouldn't
didn't
have been
sacrifice
surprised.
himself would have been even worse. Like
For
Black
Yeah.
Widow would have died for nothing. They could have just he
Like
could have-
him and Black Widow had reverse arcs. If you look at the first appearance of them in each movie, how he was the one kind of helping her get on the right path, and then she was helping him get back on the right path. So for him to die would have just
yeah.
ruined it.
But during that moment when Thanos came back, I swear to God, I thought Ant-Man was dead. Like he just
Me too.
faced that explosion without a suit
Yeah.
or
The guy
anything.
Yeah, so did I.
Mhm.
He didn't go up Thanos' butthole. He didn't
No.
turn into Giant Man.
No.
No.
0 out
No,
of
he
10,
did.
worst
He did
film.
He did turn into Giant Man, but no
He
anus.
did turn into
He
Giant
did.
A
Man.
butthole, though, sadly.
Not up the butt.
No.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You brought me here. You should have known this would happen.
I was going to say something worse there, actually, so don't worry.
Message it to me.
So this is
I have a question.
yeah, go for it.
The whole point of this movie is about sacrifice, because in Avengers, to Iron Man about how you wouldn't be the one to sacrifice your life to lay down the wire and pick him back up. In Endgame, he is the one to make that ultimate sacrifice. So a nice, neat bow around like the entire what this has been leading up to, like all these callbacks and stuff. Do you think that was nice or?
Yeah, I thought that was great. Like I thought the
Mm.
scene between Tony and his dad was just amazing, honestly.
Yeah.
That was great.
amazing, Yeah.
It went on a little long though.
Me too. I think it went on too long.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit, but
was
you
nice,
have to
though.
remember this is Iron Man's last film, and like
Yeah.
it was. I think they really wanted to build him up. Like he had his family at the
Mhm.
beginning, and he saw his dad. Like they wanted to make sure he got sent out nicely, and same with Captain America.
So they gave him all these happy moments so they could kill him off.
Yeah, pretty
Top
much.
Game of Thrones tough
Right.
guy.
Excellent.
Also, oh my god, dude.
I'm not
Um,
gonna make it out of this weekend.
That's
Also-
another discussion.
Yeah, that's a whole other
Yeah, we'll have
thing.
to have another one about that.
Yes.
And what was I going to say? Also, I've noticed with Marvel films, with the posters, they will make the people that die in the film the largest in the poster. That's a pattern I'm seeing.
Really?
Yeah, like okay, I don't want to spoil
I'll have to.
Guardians of the
I'm gonna
Galaxy
look-
Volume 2, but if you see, well, I've basically spoiled it now if you look at the poster,
Mhm.
but they did that, and both Iron Man and Thanos were the largest people in the posters. They normally do that,
Oh.
and they're normally at the top, so Marvel better start changing their patterns if they don't want to spoil films, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, they did. Yeah.
Yeah,
Cap's like right in the middle. and
yeah,
Iron
so
Man is-
Cap didn't die,
Right.
but
Oh, yeah, he didn't die.
Well, his
yeah.
character, like,
his character's
The-
like
It was
passed
the
on.
end to his
His-
character.
He's
Yeah.
retired.
Yeah, retired.
yeah,
Widow's
basically he
front and
retired, which is
center.
a
Mm.
type of dying, I guess. Like,
That's another point, actually. Nice segue there.
Mhm.
I thought it was
Ooh.
interesting that he gave the shield to
Sam.
Falcon
Yeah,
instead of
Falcon.
Bucky.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be Sam and not Bucky.
Also,
Bucky
I
is-
wanted it to be Sam because in the comics it's
Good one.
Sam.
we've got Captain
See-
Falcon now.
in the comics.
I was about to say, I think Bucky's been through enough,
Captain
like,
Falcon.
but
Yes.
tits.
but like Bucky before Infinity War, like before the war started, he was trying to
Mhm.
recover and be peaceful and not
Mhm.
be fighting anymore. I think Bucky's just gonna retire. And
Yeah.
honestly, at this point, he
Well,
deserves it
Disney
with
Plus
all the
series
shit he's
with
been
Falcon
through.
and Winter Soldier, so he's not retiring yet.
I was gonna say, what about the White Wolf thing? He was called in,
What?
Yeah, White
in
Wolf.
Oh,
Black
yeah.
Panther at the end. He's called the White Wolf. I'm pretty sure.
I think that was just a little
Yeah.
homage to the comics. I don't think they're actually doing something.
Oh,
like
okay.
that.
Yeah, because I thought
So-
he would actually become.
Yeah, Bucky deserves to live a life buying plums at farmers markets and just doing his thing.
Yeah,
Why
no,
that's-
That was
I
a
can get
cute
behind
scene.
that.
Fine.
Also,
He deserves to pull his own cap. Yeah.
another weird thing to think about is like if Captain America went back in time and put all the stones back, in that exact moment, that reality when he puts the stones back, the Thanos in that reality jumped to the future and died. So surely that reality where he put all the stones back, things would have changed anyways, and Infinity War never would have happened, and everything would have
Oh, you're
been
making
messed
my
up.
head hurt.
Yeah, like
What,
Wait.
what are
wait,
the
wait.
time
Try that
travel
again.
rules for this movie? What are the rules?
I think
They
that's
said it was different.
that-
didn't
That's
they?
yeah,
They said they were
Okay,
different. I can't remember
So
what they actually
basically,
said.
if you go back in time, you don't necessarily affect timeline, but you can create different timelines and realities.
yeah, exactly. And the whole thing was that
So-
he would put them back so that these
and then
different
yeah.
ones weren't created. And
Mhm.
Or if you did create different ones, that the outcome wouldn't be bad.
yeah. So
If
like,
that makes
One-
sense. Because like if some of the
minor
stones go
point
back
then.
and Thanos doesn't come back,
Yeah.
well then, I mean, if the stones just chill where they are and no one uses them, that's not really a bad outcome, even if you did cause a split,
Well,
alternate
I
reality.
think there's a split. I think there's a split that they didn't intend to make when they went back and took those pin particles. That's the one thing they took and the one thing they changed, and they never got to put those back. So I'm like,
that's
was
true.
that the
stole all of
butterfly?
them. They just stole a couple. They didn't steal
Yeah, they didn't take
a
all.
lot.
True.
They took
True.
4 out of the 12 or something, didn't they?
Yeah, he's good.
Mhm.
He can make more.
That was
Still,
that
maybe
might
he
also
was like,
be
oh shit.
That could
I
also
mean-
be something that when they were putting the stones back, they could have gone and replaced.
yeah, possibly.
yeah, they did bring him back. Yeah.
But also, when Captain America went back, did he live his life out? It doesn't make sense how he got back to the reality that they're living in. Because if he put the stones back, how... That's a separate reality, if you know what I mean. I'm sorry, this is going to hurt people's
We'll see.
brains thinking
Yeah,
about
you're
it.
hurting me.
But,
Me
like...
too.
I think
Yeah, go for
I
it.
think the way it works is like when she was like, okay, so like if we're talking back to like when she shows the time stone and she like shoots the timeline out,
Yeah.
and then she shows like the alternate timeline, right?
hmm
So
Mhm.
instead of it like coming back to the same timeline, it's almost like you have like almost a break in that timeline, but then it reconnects to the same timeline.
Yeah.
Somewhere
If
later,
that-
yeah.
Yeah, like later down the line or
Yeah,
whatever.
so I think that's just
like-
like a minor issue about the film. They never really. It's
Yeah.
always difficult to mess with
Right,
time in
time travel
films
rules.
because, like, they never explain. Did those timelines completely just disappear in existence, or did they do what you said, like loop back around?
Mhm.
But it just doesn't make sense, anyways, because that Thanos from that reality went to a different reality, so the Infinity War never would have happened because he didn't exist.
I almost feel like
Mhm.
we're overthinking it, and if we take what they
Yeah.
said at face value,
True.
whereas we're gonna put the stones right back, so everything will happen the way it was supposed to. I think that's them trying.
Yeah, they definitely
set up some
tried
time
for
travel
sure.
rules.
Yeah.
They tried, but everybody's getting way too like
Oh yeah, for sure.
My
That's
thing
into it, which is
is-
gonna happen.
yeah,
He took the space or the Tesseract and then disappeared.
yeah, like
Where is he?
Loki.
Right.
Wondering that.
Yeah.
I was
true.
happy with him being dead. I'm a
Did
little
that
over
never
that.
happen?
See, that should create
Oh.
an alternate timeline, I think.
Yeah,
Mm,
exactly.
well,
There were
yeah.
so many things.
If they stole it from the past, to the past. So no, it would still happen. Yeah, that should cause a split. What happened?
So that should cause a split, I think.
Mm.
That's how you might.
Oh,
be
well,
able
there's
to get
supposed to be a
Loki.
Loki
Like a
Disney Plus
multiverse.
show,
Hmm.
so maybe
I
that'll go
did
into
hear
depth
that.
about it.
I did hear that.
Maybe.
I think Sarah, your theory was good actually about
What?
Cap and I forget her name now.
Peggy?
Peggy. Yeah, I think that's a good theory. And that would explain how Cap was able to come back to the future. Because he was always in that timeline twice. It's just we didn't know he was in
Yeah.
that twice.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so that's what I was thinking. Like, were there two Captain Americas?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think they kept it a
that makes
secret.
sense. Yeah, that probably.
It was
makes-
so beautiful and so romantic, and it was just, I'm just
Wait,
I'm
was that Captain America sitting there the entire time?
maybe.
Probably, yeah. Actually, that's a good
He's
point.
just sitting there like.
They just never noticed him, even when he teleported back.
Gotcha.
Well, I mean, if he teleported back to before the group of them walked out there to send him back in the past, he could have teleported before the group like came out there, and then just walked over and chilled at the bench, for like
Mhm.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
so let's end off with what you would rate the movie out of. Should we say out of 10 or 5-star? Are we going to be like? Let's say out of 10 with 0.5 increments. What would
God.
you rate the film? Starting. Well, if anyone has a number in mind, just shout.
I'd say it's an 8 for me.
I was gonna say
I was
8
gonna-
too.
Yeah,
I was gonna say 8.5.
None of us want to commit to a 9, which is basically a 10. So
Yeah,
I
no,
want to commit to a 9.
Yeah, I think
You
I
wanna
would.
commit?
I would have given the film a 9. I think. How
It's
come
just
you guys gave
such a lot.
8s?
I wasn't a fan of how they handled the pacing of it.
Mm.
So there was a lot of so much of the movie was dedicated to making the plan, doing the time travel, and getting things set up for this fight. And then this huge fight that's, arguably one of the biggest fights in MCU is just almost glossed over because it happens
It's
so
very
fast and they're
quick.
trying to include so many people in so few shots. It just felt rushed at the end of it, and that kind of left me wanting more out of it.
Did
Yeah.
it feel rushed
Yeah.
though, or did it just go very quickly because you were enjoying yourself so much?
No, it genuinely felt rushed.
it
Yeah,
was 20. It was in the back 20 minutes, and then they still had the whole funeral after. It was pretty.
Yeah.
In comparison to a 3-hour movie, like the heist went
Well,
much longer.
Where
Yeah.
would you consider the fight to begin? Because like the fight sort of begins like even when the ship is like just now coming in and like bombing the like
Yeah.
Avengers like place.
True.
And I feel like if we're thinking from like there, maybe it was a little bit longer, but
That's
I mean,
what
that
I'd
adds
say.
what,
Even with all-
5-ish minutes to it.
yeah. I think just like all the epic scenes and stuff, like I definitely agree. Like it might have not
Mhm.
been as rushed, but it felt rushed because it was just like so much happening. It was like, wow, this is awesome. So it just like flew by, I guess. you
Yeah,
know?
it
I
It
almost.
felt like it.
My biggest fear with Infinity War was that there were too many heroes, too many actors for them to give everybody an adequate amount of time, and
Right.
they handled it fine in Infinity War.
Yeah.
English. They handled it fine in Infinity War, but then this was even more people. So I just feel like they're like,
Right.
okay, and you get a shot, and you get a shot, you get a shot, you get a shot, you get a shot, end scene. And that was
So do you
Because
think?
I mean, there were some people like
Mhm.
Captain Marvel got almost no time.
Oh yeah.
Star-Lord got almost no screen time whatsoever.
yeah.
I feel like that's
Um,
Yeah,
because
he had
they're
like one
probably
scene
either
at the end.
getting more films, or they've had well, not Captain Marvel obviously, but she's going to get another film, isn't she? Definitely. Like, there's no chance she won't.
Yeah.
I still didn't see
Star-Lord's
it.
Had a lot of screen
I
time.
still didn't
Yeah.
see it.
To be honest,
Oh, you
like
should.
even,
It's a good one.
Yeah, it's actually
even if you
Yeah,
did
I
see
mean,
it,
I
it
gave
didn't
it-
really like add to the film. I felt like there wasn't even a moment between her and Fury, which I was really hoping to see at least.
Yeah, I know they just kind of stood near each other, and that was it.
Yeah.
Just at
Yeah,
the
no, I
end,
think-
yeah.
Their
The Captain
connection
Marvel
really
movie didn't
felt
really affect this movie so much as just get you attached to the
Yeah.
character that was going to show up in Endgame.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because I'll admit, it did do that well.
Yeah.
Or at least for me, it did.
So do you think
I was about to...
after you,
Sorry,
Sam?
go on.
What-
I was going to say actually I quite liked the pacing because it was kind of like a perfect 3 acts. Because after Infinity War happens, they're going to be like bummed out. So that kind of makes sense for the first third of it to be about them being bummed out and like how they're going to solve it, and how they're coming to accept what has happened. And obviously the middle bit has to be the heist bit, and I feel like the last bit was the big fight. I think it was pretty. I liked that pacing. I thought it was quite well done.
True.
True.
Yeah. If they hadn't given time to almost like the PTSD, depression, what do we do, the support group, if they didn't have that, I would have been disappointed. So maybe I'll bump it up to a 9. I might.
I think I know you just need to watch it again. I need to watch it again.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, I definitely want to see it again. I want to watch Infinity War and then Endgame like back to back and see how I feel about it.
I don't know if my heart could take that.
That's what I did the other day.
That's too much crying.
It's
too much.
That's what I did the other day.
So do you guys think the film could have had more time, or should have had more time?
The film could be 6 hours. They could just
I
make it.
mean, it feels like 1 hour to me.
Yeah.
It could be 6 hours. It feel like 1 to me. So.
There's. Okay.
Yeah. What is Apex saying? It was nice to see that in a superhero movie, it's not all action. Not often they show the human cost. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
I thought there would be
appreciated
way
that.
more action, but I'm actually happy that there wasn't as much action as there was. Like
the stadium scene when it was like floating over, and there was like it looked
Oh,
dead
that was
in the city. It was like
great.
it was insane. It definitely
Yeah.
showed, like,
which
the
stadium scene? Sorry. Oh yeah,
it was
yeah.
like a camera pan over.
Yeah, and there
Or
was
also
empty.
when they did the snap and brought everything back, it seemed like what Ant-Man noticed first was the fact that you could hear so much wildlife around.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing was Thanos got rid of half of
Life, everything.
everything living.
Mhm.
And so the first thing he noticed is you hear like some really loud birds outside. I
That
thought
was
that was
beautiful.
a cool little touch. That
Yeah.
like that was his indicator of, oh, it worked. Holy shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought of another scene that got me when Ant-Man and his daughter reunited.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
so nice.
That was a good one.
That was cool.
I saw Ant-Man
she's
and the
only-
Wasp the other week, just before watching
Same,
this.
yeah.
I love his relationship with his daughter. It's so fun.
Mhm.
She's super cool.
Yeah.
So that was nice. That got me a bit.
I wish I would have seen that before seeing Endgame, but I still haven't seen Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I was gonna
Really?
say,
Haven't
That's a
seen
really
it
good
yet.
movie. I like Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
It's
It
good.
built
yeah.
up to
I
very
liked it.
quantum realm
Oh,
stuff, so-
then
Yeah.
I don't want to
Worth it.
spoil it for you, but there's
Yeah.
the one gimmick.
Nah, it's alright. We're in a spoiler chat, like you're good.
The Hot Wheels case of all the cars, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Here, have a ride, have a
Oh,
ride."
yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah,
Mm.
the best."
Oh, we forgot the most important character as well.
Hmm.
The rat that brought Ant-Man back.
Ant-Man
Yeah.
back.
oh my
None of
god,
this would have
that
happened
is
if
so
not for that.
true. That is so
True,
true.
literally nothing would have happened without
Can we
that
talk
rat.
about the rat?
Wow.
The Earth.
It only
didn't
took
even
him
think of it that
5
way.
years.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, isn't it
Well,
like
5
technically,
hours
like,
to Ant-Man though?
9?
Took him 5 hours.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, it
that's
was only
true.
5 hours for him, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me. One thing I wish they would have spent like just a few more minutes on is how Peter Parker starts talking to Tony about how they were in like what happened to them while they were in that other realm.
Yes.
Like clearly they were talking to each other and everything because he's like,
Mhm.
yeah, Doctor Strange said, it's been 5 years, we need to go, and then it got cut off because of the fight. And I was like, hold on, can we hear
Isn't-
more about that,
isn't that-
please?
Isn't there like a world within the Soul Stone? So maybe they were in there, and that's.
I think that was the theory.
I didn't interpret it like
I
that.
didn't
I
either.
thought Doctor Strange knew it was going to happen. He knew they were all going to get dusted.
And
And
he
he said,
knows.
"Okay, kid,
yeah.
we're back now. It's been 5 years. We got to go." I don't know
Yeah,
if they
I
were
think
conscious.
Yeah,
that's
that's
what
why-
happened.
That's how I thought it was.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
Ant-Man
how
knew
we ended
how
up with
much
time
time had
stones so easily.
passed, so that makes me think he
Yeah.
was somewhat like you're somewhat conscious while you're in different realms.
Well,
Although
you
Yeah.
that's
know that-
still the theory of Ant-Man wasn't in the Soul Stone; he was
Yeah.
in the quantum realm on his own. But the movie
Yeah.
kind of makes it out to seem like those are the same thing, like maybe
mean-
different realms, but the
Mm.
same type.
Is it in the comics?
I
At
don't
all?
read the
Comics
comics.
is a
don't
Soul
know.
World.
I think
the
it's just a
comics, there's a
matter of
soul world.
like when like Doctor Strange did his like vision thing and he was like, we only have one chance at this. I think it was just a matter of like he knew that was the only way for it to happen. So when he was back, he was just like, yeah, it's been 5 years. We have to go. Like he just knew. He just knew.
Yeah.
True.
Hmm.
Yeah, I still think they all came back and he teleported to all of the places where he needed to go
Mhm.
and said, you guys just need to come here right now. I don't know how he convinced them. Who knows? He just opened a portal like, look at that! Look!
Like, come on, guys, we
you
gotta
need
go,
to
let's
help!
go.
You want to know what's happened?
Yeah.
Come with me.
Yeah, especially because
And
the
you'll
only people
see.
that really
One minute I'm dead, and the next I'm fighting. Okay, cool.
Yeah, especially with how few
Yeah.
people knew who Doctor Strange was, because he was only seen by the Guardians of the
Yeah,
Galaxy
true.
group and
Iron Man and Spider-Man. Yeah.
Bruce, Tony, and Peter. Yeah, that was the only people who knew who Doctor Strange was.
But he knew all the Avengers, so he probably just said to like the Wakandans, Captain America, all these
Yeah.
people are in danger, and then with like the Asgardians,
Maybe that's why it took them
Thor,
so long to get there.
yeah,
Yeah, and I think like as soon as he opens a portal, like obviously they're gonna see Thanos and his like army. They're gonna go fight.
yeah, for
Mm.
sure.
True.
That must have been timed perfectly though, because all the portals open
Yeah.
at the same time. Like,
Yeah,
just be
that
like,
was
no, but
work.
we have to do it at the same time, or else the film won't be good.
It
You have to be on
really
fleek,
cool,
guys.
okay? I'm very coordinated.
Superhero
Exactly.
entrance on 3, 2, 1.
And I'll just peep in to see if Cap is dying first, and then we jump in, okay?
Perfect save.
At the break of death, let's go.
Yeah.
Was anyone else expecting Vision to come back?
Yeah.
That's
I was not,
yeah,
actually.
I was.
I completely forgot about Vision, not gonna lie.
Like, I didn't think he'd come
I-
back with the stone, but we know how smart Shuri is, and you know she didn't start working on his brain without making a full copy.
Yeah.
Like, we know she didn't.
which stone was in
Yeah.
his head
So I
again?
didn't-
Sorry, I forgot.
The yellow one.
The yellow one.
Mind
the
Stone.
Stone?
Oh,
Yeah.
Mind Stone. I'm confusing it with the
Yeah, not
Soul
the Soul
Stone.
Stone.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But see, I didn't think he'd be there for the fight because obviously Shuri had just come back, but I figured he'd get like a casual just pan by in the funeral scene. Like, you know, it's been at least a few
Yeah.
days since the fighting, and I figured Shuri would have gone and brought Vision back because he was supposed to be able to live without the stone.
But
feel
did we
like-
see if Shuri died or not?
Is
Did
a
she vanish?
copy
She did
of
die.
the
She vanished.
She
character
vanished. Yeah.
still the same person, though? Even though it was Jarvis, like, is that still the same?
If it has his memories, then yeah.
Yeah, I think Scarlet
the only
Witch
thing
would have
that'd be missing-
appreciated
Yeah.
it. Anyways.
Yeah, and there's a moment where I think he talks about how the stone feels like a separate entity, like it's there and it kind of
Right.
powers him, but it's also
Hmm.
apart from him.
Hmm.
Because he kind of has like
Right.
it almost reminds me of Harry Potter with the scar, where he's like, he refers to it as it and not
Mhm.
as part of himself.
Like the Horcrux kind of situation, because I haven't
Yeah.
mentioned
Yeah.
Harry Potter enough today.
I was gonna say you just want to bring in Harry Potter.
Sorry.
Cool. I think. Well, we've all given our ratings. We all enjoyed the film,
Yeah.
so I think unless anyone else has anything they can think of.
Yeah, I do. I have one last
I'm
thing I wanna say.
crashing.
Oh, go for it,
I'm
Nerdy.
so tired.
Go for it, Nerdy.
The scene where after Thor decapitates Thanos
Uh-huh.
and he's leaving, it plays this song, this really emotional song, and it's in the soundtrack. It's called Porch, and it was played in Infinity War after Thanos had snapped everybody away, and it was showing him looking at the sunset. But this time, it was a little bit more sadder than, because we're looking at it from the Avengers perspective, while before we were looking at Thanos' perspective, and then it cuts off, and then we see 5 years later, just slowly,
Mhm.
just so distraught by that. I thought that was really
Mhm.
good timing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought it was
That
gonna
would be
say
like-
5 years earlier for a second, but later.
Yeah,
I did
when
too,
they're
for
pulling
a split
Spike
second.
me out,
Yeah.
I was like, 5 years, please say ago.
Yeah.
They the use of, I don't, what do you call them, captions, title cards, the use of those in Infinity War and in this movie, without those would have been so hard to follow.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
And I
'cause I
thought they
think
were
they, like-
really well done.
Yeah, they like first introduced it in like I think Guardians, like when they were introducing like the
Yeah,
different
yeah.
planets and stuff. Like I
Yeah.
love it. Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, sorry. Now that brings me to think about Thanos. Like, did you think a lot of people have said they think he's worse in this film than he was in the previous Infinity War? What do you
Mhm.
guys think?
Worse how?
Just like his character, in like a sense. I don't know. I would think. I agree that I think he just got a bit too crazy in this film.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
sympathized with him in Infinity War.
In Endgame, you just seemed like the casual, oh, I'm a big baddie, I'm gonna...
Yeah, in Endgame he
Mhm.
felt more just villainous, you know.
Yeah, I
Wait,
think it's because like in Endgame, like he didn't have to go through the struggle to get each Infinity Stone. Like he had to kill Gamora in
Yeah,
Infinity
true.
Wars, so like
Mhm.
he already had him like handed to him. He didn't like that
Mhm.
character of him like didn't have to go through like
And that's
the
an
That
struggle he
character
had to.
development for
Didn't
Thanos
grow,
was
did
yeah, it didn't
I
happen.
am
Did not grow.
inevitable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'm
am inevitable.
And I
Yeah.
think the fact maybe in
Iron
Infinity
Man.
War when he did have to kill Gamora, that changed him a lot in comparison to like
Mhm.
you have to remember he didn't have to do that. This was the past one jumping to the future. So it's just like, you know,
Mhm.
he didn't have that
He hadn't had
development.
that character development yet.
So
Yeah, and he's
Yeah.
probably also
Mhm.
driven by the fact that he knew, like, because of this whole time travel thing, he knew he succeeded.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
so he just kind of, I guess, went overboard on the whole, no, I succeeded and you're not going to stop me from succeeding kind of thing. And
Yeah.
it just kind of caused him to go over the edge a little bit.
Yeah.
I think actually
I feel
like
he was more arrogant.
yeah, it probably
Mhm.
works in all the context of the film pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Team VVV is like, what do you guys think of the Thanos fight? The fact that he was able to fight all three Thor, Iron Man, and Cap at the
Without
same
the
time
stones.
without the
Stones. I was like,
stones.
when did he get that?
Well,
I
we
mean,
saw
I think
him
the thing
box
was-
Hulk,
He's
like,
stronger than Hulk,
nothing.
right? Hulk
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
take them
Yeah.
all on.
We're still confirmed that he's stronger
I
than
was
him.
gonna say, I think the thing is that he had been training, his entire life pretty much to wield these
Mhm.
stones, and he knew the kind of power it would take.
Mhm.
And so I almost feel like this is the Thanos before he ever held the stones, and he
Mhm.
didn't have to rely on them. He knew he had to rely on himself. It was probably pushing himself to still be stronger and better
Ooh,
in everything all the time.
That's a
Whereas by
really good
Infinity
point.
War, he kind of got lazy and started relying on the stones for just about everything.
that's a
Whereas
really
this one,
good
it's like
point.
clearly he had been doing combat training for his entire life.
I was
Yeah.
gonna
So could
say,
that
no-
explain him right hooking Captain Marvel as just one? He was trying more. He was doing a
She-
better job.
Beating Captain Marvel, he said he took out that power as soon as I said, boom.
Yeah, that was really smart when he took out the stone just for her. What were you gonna say, Sam?
Mhm.
Sorry.
we don't know how much damage he's taken getting those stones either. So he could have been weak
Right.
getting the
True.
stones
True.
in the first place. Plus, we don't know what he saw from Nebula's memory, so he could have seen like how some of the other Avengers fought.
Mm.
True.
Potentially.
That's a really good point, and yeah, he would
Yeah.
know exactly their fight style. And he was
Mhm.
probably fueled by anger after seeing himself be killed by Thor and all that stuff.
Oh, he seemed pretty fine. He was like, that's destiny.
Yeah, true. To be fair, he was like,
So fine with it.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I think we still have to take a perspective. Like this is still the Thanos who like destroyed planets, like literally wiped them out. Like Gamora's planet,
True.
half of them were just killed by his
Mhm.
hand.
that is
without
very
them.
true.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I just want to like him, but I shouldn't.
I liked
I liked him in
Thanos in
Infinity War,
Infinity
not gonna
War.
lie.
In Infinity War,
He's an
yeah.
interesting villain.
He's a very
interesting.
interesting villain.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I always like the villain where they think they're doing the right thing.
Yeah,
I always
Yeah.
love a villain
Same
like
with
that.
Killmonger.
Always makes for a
and-
better character.
Yeah,
yeah.
Killmonger.
yeah. They changed him a lot from the comics as well, because in the comics, he's
He's a brute.
and he's after Death's heart, isn't he? He
Yeah.
the
Yes,
physical
yes,
yes, he's all
embodiment
in.
of
Yeah.
death.
What?
Yeah, there's
What?
Yeah.
there's
He's
a
actually, I think, it's not the same with Thanos.
I think
Yeah,
so.
isn't Thanos also?
Yeah, apparently this
Probably
is what I
fine.
heard. Like Death is a female, and he wants
Lady
Death.
Death. I know you're talking about
Yeah.
Lady Death.
So
yes.
he like
That's also
kills all
Deadpool,
these
like,
people. He wants to kill
as
everyone.
well.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but they changed that for the film because they're like, that might
Yeah.
that might not slide
Yeah,
well
That
in
might be
Hollywood.
extra.
Yeah, true.
Introduce Lady Death. You have to introduce a whole bunch of stuff.
Cool. Okay, I think we'll leave it there because we could probably talk about this
Rabbit
further.
hole.
Exactly, a rabbit
Yeah.
hole. So,
Yeah.
Infinite.
let's quickly go through everyone, same order last time. If you want to shout out your channel, please go ahead. So, Nerdy, you start.
I don't have a channel, so I don't have
But
to shout out anything.
Instagram or anything. I know you like
Nerdy's
your
a really
Follow
cool
me
Instagram.
on-
person.
Sound
Yeah, I
There you
am.
go.
Follow me on IG at TheNerdySpaceMan.
All right, Mason. It's TTV, GearlessMason. Come hang out.
No.
That was so cute. You're like,
So,
You can watch me at SoundShower. On everything, I'm SoundShower pretty much. I stream most days. I play random stuff.
Awesome. Fangskii?
I don't stream. I guess I can drop my Instagram. It's Spudley93. That's about all I got.
Lady Tuesday?
I hate this part of class. Hi, I'm Sarah, or Lady Tuesday, Lady_Tuesday. I'm gonna stream tomorrow, and I'm gonna play not Zelda, Spyro, before I go watch more people die at Game of Thrones. So
Hell yeah.
Oh god.
high emotions this
Don't remind me
weekend.
about that.
Tomorrow's
That's a
gonna be
whole nother
rough.
discussion.
Go straight into that.
Yes, we should. Okay.
All the Starks this weekend. All the Starks. Just
Wow. No spoilers. Okay, guys.
No
Thank
spoilers,
you.
just a guess.
Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in whatever we talk about next on the GoldKarat cast. 24 Karat cast. See you then. Peace.
bye. Thank you.
Bye.